What's going on, traders? Welcome back to Start Swing Trade. Let's get into this market. Let's take a look at what's going on right now. Seems like we are seeing in everything a little bit of a bounce back day. Wouldn't you know it? After a couple of down days, we get ourselves a little bit of a bounce back. This is what really makes a market, right? At the end of the day, it's not only one way that it kind of flows, right? We're always going to get these kind of little bounces back. Now, the only question is, can this bounce hold? That's the hard part, right? How do you get through these bounces, right? And when do you expect them? Things like this. Well, one thing that I always look at is looking to the left to see where the support was and are we going to make resistance there? So you can see around here around the 429. Now we're starting to make some resistance at that 429. We could easily come right back down. So one thing that I'd keep in mind is that, of course, what are the things that we have coming up? Well, tomorrow we'll get PCE report, and later today at 4 to 5 we get Jerome Powell. Yes, I said that. Jerome Powell at 4 p.m. today. He could knock this market right back down. So honestly, this is as good as a bull trap as there can be, right? And yes, some people will probably say, well, what if he comes out dovish? Well, yeah, if he comes out dovish, it goes higher. But I think everyone's kind of expecting that bearish scenario coming from Jerome Powell. Why would he get bullish here? Right? He just had a meeting. And if anything, oil's getting hotter. I mean, oil's definitely starting to maybe turn around a little bit as they were back down to 91s. Today, this morning, we were at 95.03. Yes, 95 was oil ticking. So maybe this starts to turn around. Maybe that could give them a little bit of a lift. If I look at oil stocks, they are coming down right now. They haven't really broken down, but they've made a big leap up in the recent times. So we'll look to see if this actually starts to turn around a name like Valero that has been trying to rip back towards 150. It's been going sideways now for about 3 weeks. Let's keep our eyes on this, because once this comes back down through, let's say, like that 142 spot, I want to get short, but I want to wait. I want to wait for this range on the bottom side to break on the downside, and then I can come after the energy name short. Let's take a look at what else is in the market today. Of course, technology taking lead. We can look at some of the major names and see how those are doing. Apple not doing too bad on a little bit of a bounce back, 0.71%. Not really a major bounce back, right? It's just simple bounce back here, right? And I think that we need to kind of keep an eye out to see what's going to happen here. Are we going to continue to see these takedowns in the market? Give me 1 second, guys. Just going to fix my camera up here. Just going to focus in a little bit more. There we go. That should help. All right. Now you guys should see me in just a second here. There we go. All right. We'll see what happens in Microsoft, but let me go ahead and make my chart a little bit bigger here. There we go. Now you guys can see this clearly. Let's keep taking a look to see what we get here at the end. I have a feeling we might get ourselves a little bit of a sell-off. Now, the one stock that is popping off today that held the VWAP is right here. That's ARM. And that itself could start bringing this tech trade back. As ARM starts to make a turnaround, you'll see NVIDIA look to try to make a turnaround. So those are the stocks that I'd keep an eye out for. Microsoft, ARM, Apple, those bigger names, they're going to determine what happens here. Meta, another one that got the lift today, got above the 300, and a lot of this on the Quest 3 and being able to hold on right now. Now, will we come back and test this trend line? We can easily come back and test this trend line, make our way back there towards at least 309, 310s, then be making a breakout attempt towards 320. Now, when we come back below the 300s, that could also mean the breakdown move on Meta. So it cracked 300 multiple times here, just never really breaking down. And even yesterday on Wednesday's action got to 286, but now back to 303. So Meta's definitely one that could continue higher. Google was pretty strong on the bounce back. That's one that I could see maybe going for another topping event, but it might just be filling in this gap and then taking the next leg lower. Amazon was one that I was looking for reversals after it started the day pretty red to green. It went up there back towards 126, Also, keeping an eye on Shopify to do the same thing. And look at that move on Shopify from 51 to 53.70s. That could have been definitely a good win on the day. We'll see what happens there in shop and some other names. Of course, you guys can throw some tickers up. We can continue going with some high cap names in technology. But overall, what are you guys looking at in the chat? It's good to see you guys out there. Smash the like. The Crow, Coyote. What's up out there? How we doing? AXLA was a beast reversal. Kevin in the house. Milky Fade. If you guys are new to the show, say hello and let me know what stock was on your radar today. All right. KSCP, easy 100% runners. I mean, we'll see what happens, man. Our time frames definitely work. 4-hour time frames definitely work, Crow. If those are working for you, man, I definitely think that it's very important to kind of look at those actions. You can see here how the hourly kind of bounced there off the 70s. It's crazy how those hourly charts and those 4-hour charts can actually give you a lot of what risk to return, right? Some are not willing to use it while others are. That's a beast trade without a doubt. And I think that one thing that Crow has learned for himself is that I maybe might not want to be in the shorter time frames. Like it's okay maybe to take a look on the time frames, but the trades might be better taken off the bigger time frame, right? So I take the trade off the bigger time frame and I use the tighter time frames to show me that my trade is continuing in my direction. Things like this can really get you that nice benefit and you can win a big return, right? And I think that that's the important thing, trying to catch things on the pullback so you can get a nice little rip to the upside. All right, let's get back to the market. We can take a look at some other stocks, technology stocks, of course, having not a bad day. What were the top movers in the SPY today? Believe it or not, Carnival Cruise Lines. And Carnival is actually going to be reporting tomorrow before the bell. This is one that I expect to maybe get some lift off the first print, especially the way that we're going into tomorrow. Unless Jerome Powell ruins the market in the afternoon, well, it can always do that, right? But if things are still going well after Jerome Powell, tomorrow at 8:30, we'll get PCE report. You could get a pop up on the CCL report, and then followed by a downtake in the PCE. Or it could be the opposite. It could be CCL gets hit on their report, and then PCE doesn't come in as heavy towards inflation. And next thing you know, you see a reversal. So keep your eyes on things. It's going to be shaky. You're going to see a lot of action moving around. Now, of course, Carnival is not the only one reporting tonight. Nike will be reporting tonight. Now, this one looks like it's dropped off massively into the earnings. Maybe this one has set the bar low enough for a bounce back. Have to wait and see. Of course, Jerome Powell will be speaking tonight, so he can change it all. But it's definitely one to catch after the bell, Nike's earnings. All right, let's keep going. Technology names. We were looking at the SPY. What were the biggest names there? I saw TRMB, ALB, AMD getting a nice little pop after mentions from Microsoft and AI. Zebra, ZBRA getting a little bit of a push up there. NCLH having a decent pushback. Dexcom, but what do you see here leading the SPY? Not really tech names, or at least not big tech names. You're seeing some of the smaller ones. And then you finally get to some semiconductor equipment stocks. Then we start to get a little bit better. RCL coming back to 94.32s. It seems like we've got ourselves a little bit of a bounce there in the cruise lines. So be careful out there as you're getting this bounce. We'll see if this leads to the next downside action. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at some other trades here, getting out of the top trades in the cyclical in the S&P 500. Now we're going to the consumer cyclical area to see what did well today there. Department stores getting a little bit of a bounce back. Macy's had been going sideways off that 11, finally gets off the sleepy turn and starts to push to the upside. So did KSS. Now the only question is, will we get a day two move? That's what I'll be looking for. Well, consumer cyclical. Let's keep going. Lodging here. Hyatt getting a little bit of a bounce back, right? Saunders getting a little bit of a bounce back here. Of course, this one actually did a split. I'm going to keep this one on my radar because eventually the next time that these hotels kind of turn around to the downside, I feel this one could break down and come right back down to through the 560s. Marriott getting a little bit of a bounce back to 200. Is this a short opportunity? I'm starting to feel like it is, right? Hilton coming right back up to 153s, 154s today. Will this eventually come right back down? Or will it catch the bounce? Get back up through that 155. Marriott definitely looking interesting also on that pullback. We'll see what happens. Of course, with Marriott, can we come after it? Can we nail it? It doesn't look too bad here, especially as it bounces back and starts rejecting the 200. Multiple rejections in that 200. And who knows if Powell comes in and hits this market down even further, this could easily be back at 193s. I'm going to be paying attention to the PCE report to see what happens in lodging, but definitely something to keep an eye out for. Hilton, Marriott, and this will also be affecting kind of like Airbnb. Airbnb getting a little bit of a bounce back today, filling the gap. But is that just a gap fill and then it craps? We'll find out. All right, let's keep going, team. Consumer cyclical, recreational vehicles getting a little bit of a bounce there. Auto parts, leisure names starting to push. Of course, we talked about some of the cruise lines, but in leisure, you got a bunch of different names, right? You can see here EXPE, Expedia getting a little bit of a bounce back. Eventually, I think this could crack down a little bit further. But these bounce backs give us opportunities if you're a bear to be looking for some shorts. We'll see what happens out there. Auto manufacturers were struggling, then turned things around. Tesla started the day with a little bit of a down move, then came up all the way to the bottom end of the range. Now made a move back to 247. It's looking like it wants to make another step up here. We'll see what happens. And then Ford starting to get a lift. Will we see a deal go through and eventually see a pop on these names? That's one thing that's keeping myself out of these names. And Stellantis coming back here in 1924. I know that Friday is a big day for the UAW because they'll be announcing more strikes if there's no deal done. So keep your eyes on that tomorrow to find out what happens in Ford, GM. Will they take the next step to the upside or another dump? We'll find out. All right, let's keep going. We'll get out of the auto manufacturing. There's some residential construction names here that are starting to get a little bit of a bounce back. These names have pulled back significantly here. So let's start see if we get another move. In basic materials, I've been keeping an eye on some of these to see what would happen in coal names today. And you guys can see coal doing what? Just taking off lately, yet no one's talking about coal. Everyone's talking about oil. Everyone's talking about the banks. When's the last time you heard somebody mention coal on like the medias, right? Whether that be, Bloomberg, CNBC, Fox Business. You hear them talking about coal? No, they're not talking about the black gold here. BTU going higher through the 2565s. AMR going higher. We've been talking about these for a while. CEIX. HCC just recently had pulled back to that 46. Now already up there to the 51s. A lot of these names just kicking it off. METC up another 1.4%. And this one had made a recent push there towards 11. Can this get back to 1250s? Not a bad one to keep an eye out for. And a lot of these can really start going here. AREC getting off the bottom there. NC, look at that. That's looking like it's starting to get strong. So these coal plays aren't too bad, man. There's something to keep an eye out for. And you guys can see the overall industry. That's a takeoff, man. Aluminum getting a little bit of a bounce. You see how this is not the same chart. This is probably about coal is the only one that I think here that has that type of chart, right? Where it just looks like it just took off. Metals and minerals looks like it's trying to just balance out and eventually make another move. We'll see if it can make another move. It's just kind of a balance out. BHP, Rio, names like that, Valet, CCJ, taking a little bit of a step back today. Silver, building materials. The only thing I like in building materials is CARR, CAR. We talked about this one yesterday. It had a really good day yesterday, continuing the good day today. lifting higher, going towards that 5680s. Of course, this is kind of like an HVAC maker. We're talking that air conditioner. You kind of need your air conditioner, right? Well, if they're going to be building a lot of houses, I'll tell you one thing, they could be buying a lot of products from Carr. I think this is one that I'd be looking for a little bit of a pullback back to 54 and 53s. If we could get a pullback to 54 50s, doesn't look too bad. Let's see if it takes that next step up there to 58, maybe eventually making a run to 60. So building materials, not looking too bad, especially the CARR. BLDR has pulled back a pretty good amount here. We'll see if this eventually starts making an uplift. Of course, that's building materials. Chemicals also haven't been as hot, right? These just don't look as hot as you see coal. Now, lumber and wood production looks like it's starting to set up here for another move. I will keep watch on this. Last time I tried to play this with WFG and was not able to nail this down. Now let's start seeing if this can start making its way back and making a move back there towards 80. So I will keep an alert to see this get back above 74.50s, going to 75, and seeing if we can catch ourselves a little bit of a lumber trade. We'll find out. Steel bouncing, gold bouncing, but the truth is nothing's looking like that coal in basic material. And a lot of that is what? It's energy, baby. Staying strong right now. Basic materials, of course, we just covered that. Let's go to financial services to see if financial services can turn back to the red. They started green there. Now JPM is starting to fall off, but will it really crack down? That's something to keep an eye out for. This area towards the upside here around 149.13 has been acting as resistance. Eventually, I'm going to look to see if we can just crack back down towards the 144. KRE getting a little bit of a bounce back today. So that's not looking too bad there. I'm looking at some certain regional banks to see if we can see some more collapse. Wall is one that's on my radar. Once it starts to crack a little bit further, I'll let you guys know. But the banks not having the worst day today, a little bit of a bounce back in the green today. And essentially the only thing in the red today is utilities from the open. And this is an area that you definitely want to be avoiding right now. Look at Nextera and how that opened up. 60.43s. Down to 57, and bam, down goes Frazier. Nextera Energy doesn't look good at all. XLU just getting flushed there, guys. Not what you want to be seeing there. So names like Duke, Excel, Southern Company, a lot of these names just taking a big beating to the downside here, guys. So we'll see what happens with these utility names, but second day that they take a major hit. Lily. This looks like a chart that I was looking at for a short earlier in the day, and you guys can see how I was rejecting the VWAP here, and it did go down to 541s, but starting to make its way back. So definitely getting a little bit of a bounce back. We'll see if it gets to 546, 550s. But this is one that I was even thinking about maybe taking a short. Same thing with Merck here. As you see it rejecting, will it make a move back down through that 104? You can see how it's been kind of fading away here. I'm looking to see if it starts acting as resistance to 104.81s and we come down towards maybe even 100. We'll find out. Smash the like out there, guys. It's 3:59. If you guys have tickers you guys want to take a look, throw them up there. I'm trying to keep flowing here, keep rolling through the markets. But of course, you guys see it. Health not doing the best right now. Some of these names starting to turn down. Now, one area that I was keeping an eye out for is right here, healthcare plans. This is the hot area right now that I've been seeing these stocks staying strong. CVS made a move today, though, to the downside, then didn't really break out. I actually got out of this thing break even on the pullback, but recently this looks like it wants to get back there to 71. We'll see what happens with these names. Can they get another lift here? And we're talking healthcare plans. So we'll see what happens with these. There's so much more that we can catch, guys. If you guys have any stock you guys want to take a look at, throw them up. I'll take a look at it. And of course, don't forget, Jerome Powell's about to start speaking. Nike has earnings tonight. CCL earnings tomorrow. What will happen with these cruise lines? Affirm. I was shorting a little bit earlier in the week even. Let's see if this gets hit again. I like the rejection of 2134s back above 22s. This could squeeze right back to the upside. So I think you got to keep your eyes on it. Make sure that it doesn't really start closing above the 9 EMA, that 2119. But if you're looking for a bullish move, it did reverse off of like slightly towards 1950s. I'd like to see 20s hold now and start working its way back there into this gap right above. If I'm a bull, I need it in this gap. If I'm a bear, I would want it to reject here around the 9, that light blue line that you guys see there, and then rejecting right back down through the 20s. We'll see what happens there on a firm. SE, what's been going on with SE? Slight wisdom needs some answers. And guess what? Money Mitch has the answers for you, my friend. So SE has been a kind of it's been a little bit of a mixed signal, right? I mean, if you take a look here, that's why we have Benzinga Pro, right? So what's been going on here is it's a battle, right? And so it looks like India was able to ban, and they didn't ban TikTok completely, but they banned the purchasing of products on TikTok. And that's actually giving SE a little bit of a lift, as some people are thinking that other countries could follow suit. So SE, of course, e-commerce that could be making better sales now because TikTok has been banned in India. That's what was being said. That's the word on the street. SE continuing today. I'd be looking for pullbacks back down closer towards this 4230s, but we'll see what happens if this one gets back to the pop from Wednesday of 4370. Boeing not looking too bad there. Boeing was just getting hit down, but down to 190s. Eventually, I feel like this is going to get a nice little bounce. It's definitely extreme on the oversold. And I think this also has to do with the slowdown, right? Because if there's consumer slowdown, people are not going to be buying Boeing planes. But this gives us an opportunity to start looking for monthly pullbacks and trying to get a better opportunity on Boeing. It's right around here, around the 190s. Other than that, this could really break down back to 170s. So I want to see it hold this 190 area, get back up there through the 200. That could be an opportunity for a buy. If not, it could come right back down to 170s. The 200-day moving average right below it, it needs to get back into the 2s. Arms slipped between my fingers because of the shutdown plot. Yeah, man, the shutdown plot can definitely try to shake you sometimes. ARM made a move up today. We'll see if it can continue. We'll see if Nike can continue to push. Looks like it's pushing right now. The earnings are starting to hit the tape. Of course, you guys can keep up with all this on pro.benzinga.com, guys. I throw it up all the time. Get your 2-week trial. If you're not already a pro member, well, you're missing out, team. We'll see what happens with Nike. We'll see what happens with some other names. Like always, smash the like. I hope you guys enjoyed all the action right here, only on Benzinga, of course. See you bright and early, guys. Nike's getting a little bit of a lift. See if Carnival Cruise Line can. And don't forget, Jerome Powell's on right now. So be careful out there, traders. A lot of talk out there in the markets.